Hoi hoi folks, good morning, good afternoon and good evening wherever you are in the world. My name is Sean, aka Uncle Frogface, and welcome to today's video. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're not new, then welcome back. So I'm always excited to make videos, but I am super excited today. So if you've been following the channel, you'll know that I've been giving some sneaky hints over the last few videos that I've got something on the way. And last video, I flat out told you I have a product that I'm launching, and I'm launching that today on my Etsy store, and you'll probably see what it is from, well, at least have an idea from the description of today's video. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to get into my product. I've just realised that I'm wearing my glasses and I don't actually need these at the moment, so let's take those off. Can actually see clearer now. So we're zoomed in quite far because we today are talking about paint pans. So if you have ever done anything with art, even if it's just a cursory glance in an art shop, you'll be familiar with this. This is a paint pan. Actually, this one has got some gouache in it, but this is a half pan. This stores 2 ml of paints, and they usually come in these little dry blocks like this. So with watercolours and gouache, you either get them in dried out blocks in a pan like this, or you get them in a tube like this and it's wet. And some people make their own paints, which I would love to try, but you can actually take these dry paints, as I think I've shown on the scrawler box where I unbox these. You can take these dry paints, they can dry out, and then you can reactivate them. So I have been hard at work at the computer doing some designing. I've been printing, I've been testing things out, doing lots of very scientific mathematical calculations and equations, and I have come up with these. So these are my custom paint pans, and you see they come in black and white, and there are 3 shapes. There's something quite special about these as well. So I'll go through the shapes first. So we have these ones over here. These are the Coffins. I think that's all of those. We have the arrows. And then finally over this side we have what I'm calling the scales. So here's the interesting thing about these, and this is my math teacher background coming in here. So all of these shapes actually tessellate together, so they go together in kind of a lossless pattern, so you can stack them and maximise the space, and they're cute. So that is how the coffins stack together. Over here we've got the arrows, so these stack together like this. And let's get some white ones in here as well. So points to points like that. There we go. So that is the arrows, and that's how they go together. And then interestingly, the scales over here have 2 patterns that they can make. So you can either stack them like this in kind of a scale pattern, and they go together like that. Very nice, I like that. Or there's a slightly different way. So if you go end to end with these, then you can go like this in here, and then you can stack one here and one in here, so you get a different kind of tessellation with these ones, to kind of add to the possibilities of stacking these all together. So you can make this little square pattern, which is really, really fun. So like I say, I've designed these, I've printed them, these are now available on my Etsy store, and I've actually, in testing, have been using them. So let me move these out of the way and I'll show you what they look like with some paints in them. Okay, so here we are. Here we have my Coffins, which I think this is the first one that I came up with, and I do have a soft spot for these. probably just because of my, slightly macabre, ghoulish nature. But yeah, these are filled with a Dale Rowney watercolour over here. So I've got 6 on each. These are gouache in the middle, so the arrows, so we've got the coffins in black, the arrows in white, and both these are filled with gouache. It's a Royal Langnickel, I think, gouache. So we've got one set of colours here, and then with the scale shapes, we've got both black and white together to show that you can mix and match. And we've got some more gouache in there, and you can see that the gouache, as it dries, it kind of cracks, which is absolutely fine. You can either fill those up, or you can just re-wet it, and they kind of go together really, really nicely. This is a little sketch that I've done in preparation. So I am going to use these and paint this, and I think I'm going to start with watercolours, and then I'm going to use some gouache over the top to do some of the details. And whilst I do that, I can have a little bit of a chat about paints and paint pans and why I came up with these. So here we are. I've just gone through and added a little bit of water to each of these to activate them in preparation for this little doodly painting. Now, I am by no means the best watercolour painter out there. In fact, I am still very much learning. But I do find when I'm learning something, I like to be surrounded by pretty things, nice things that are inspiring to me. And I think as artists, we're all like that. We all want aesthetic things around us. I mean, goodness knows how many paintbrushes I've got that are iridescent or fun-shaped handles and things like that, because they're fun to use and they inspire us. And that really is why I came up with this idea. So I know that some people who make watercolor paints and sell them on places like Etsy will use things like shells and bottle caps and all those kinds of things, or just plain old half pans to send out to people, and that's absolutely fine. And also, people use Altoid tins and all that kind of stuff to store their things in. But when you've got a limited amount of space, actually making use of all of the space that you've got is really important, and that's why I came up with the idea of tessellating shapes to go together, because it takes up the maximum amount of space use for paint with no wasted areas in the middle. And once you fall into kind of tessellated patterns and stuff, it's a whole thing, and I went on a great big maths geek out with this. But yeah, it took a while for me to kind of really dial these in to make sure that they hold exactly the right amount of paint, that they tessellate really nicely, that they can have a nice pattern and work together. But once I was happy with it, I decided, you know what, I'm going to share it with other people, and that's why I'm releasing this as a product. So it is available on my Etsy store. The link for the Etsy store is down below. It's also where you can get original paintings and prints and all that kind of stuff as well. So these are all designed by myself and printed in PLA. What can I say? I'm just really, really excited about this. I've been waiting to release this for quite a while, but obviously things have been happening in my life which have meant that I had to postpone it a little bit. But I thoroughly love working on these, and I've got other ones planned as well to come out in the future. All really depends on how these ones go down, but I would love to know your guys' thoughts on these, and just your general feedback on what you think of the designs, and whether you have any other shapes that you'd like to see. But this painting, as I say, really quick doodly one. So we're going through. This is how inspired I was. I ended up using 2 paintbrushes at once. But yeah, I'm just going through doing very light watercolour painting, and then going over with some of the gouache. You can see how nicely the paint reactivates in that paint pan there. That the purple arrow really is a pleasure to use. We're nearly at the end of this, so I'll leave you, and I'll be back in just a moment with a few more final thoughts. Well, there we go, just a little watercolour gouache doodle. I'm happy with the picture. I really hope you guys like these paint pans. Don't forget, all the links to get them are down below. Your support is very, very much welcome. As always, I really hope you've enjoyed today's video, and until next time, goodbye.